Stacy, how are we doing today?
How are you? 95. How are you?
Episode 95. I'm really, really happy today because last time I checked, 5 plus 9 equals 14.
14.
And this 1 and 4 is 5. And there is a 5 in this episode. So when you put 9 with 5, this is going to be one of our luckiest, best episodes. Probably not from the way I've started out right now. But I'm telling you, stay close, and we're going to get way better than this particular moment. It's all the tryptophan from the turkey from Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was really good. We had some company, and so that was nice. It's funny because, I'm like, I won't be hosting down in Tennessee yet. People are coming to see us.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we hosted, and it was very nice. We had a great time. And, yeah, the tryptophan coma is real.
What poundage was the turkey?
We actually got two. We got 2 12s. I cooked one the night before and then had it ready to rewarm, and then we cooked the other one the day of.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
And then I did turkey pies, and I did, all that sort of stuff afterward. So leftovers.
Lots of turkey.
Lots of turkey. Yes,
lots of turkey.
What about you?
Awesome. We had a good time. My brother and his wife came down, and mom and dad came down, and we had a very full few days.
We did. All right.
Yeah. Oh man, we did some. We were playing pool, and then we had dinner, and then we had a few drinks out on the back porch, and we had a fire going, and it was. Yeah. I should have put some video because we were listening to the Jerky Boys. I don't know if you've ever heard the Jerky Boys.
Oh yes, I love the Jerky Boys.
I mean, Frank Rizzo, Saul, all of them. They're the
funny.
Best.
Yes.
Yeah. The only thing that I always tell people, the only thing that ever makes me laugh hard, I'm not a big laugher. I can make people laugh, but I'm not a big laugher myself. But the Jerky Boys and the Stooges, they always get me laughing. Always. And people getting hurt, actually. Like when they do like jackass, like stupid things, they fall on ice. I find it hysterical. It's cruel, I know, but it's just, I don't know why that appeals to my stupid sense of humor.
It puts me in pain, like in my stomach. You post those things, I'm like, ow.
Nothing makes me laugh harder, and that's so mean because these people are hurt, but they're so stupid to do these things when they're not qualified to do these things. I feel it's legitimately okay to laugh at them. Anyways, we had a good Thanksgiving. I did a turkey and a ham, and turns out we started a new tradition.
Oh.
We used to, for years, it was dinner at my mother's, dinner at Sue's mother's. And then, it was Christmas dinner at Sue's mother's, and then dinner on Christmas Day with my mother and all that. So now that big Christmas dinner is now merged with the Thanksgiving dinner that we had at my house. Okay. So that's the big dinner. Now, later at night, my mother's sitting in the chair. We're here at the house, right? We're watching a Christmas movie or whatever. And we've come in, we've taken our showers from being out in the smoky fire and all that stuff. And we're sitting there and we're like, tired from the day. And my mother goes, so what do y'all think if we no longer do a dinner and we just do Christmas sandwiches? Because we like to go over to my brother's house and we love to get lit up on like 5 bottles of Magnum champagne. and it's a lot of fun. It really is. It's one of maybe 3 days in the year that I look forward, that I hold on to. Like in the middle of the summer, I look for that day, and then we go over. My mother puts a big dinner together and all that, and so we're like, half of it, we're like so lit we can't really appreciate the dinner, and then I usually pass out on the couch during Christmas vacation. So she's like, why don't we just do like sandwiches? Have like picky foods and stuff. That way you can party a little longer. You can pace yourself. We'll come over. We'll watch Christmas Vacation, and then we'll go from there. So now we started a brand new tradition, and I was really excited about that. Yeah, we were all like, Mom, that's like a great idea. Totally a great idea. So I love it. I love it. It frees up. Too. Yeah, it's less chaos. And my mother doesn't want to be making these giant meals. Like, that's a lot of work. That is a lot of work to put together. And I know my sister-in-law Debbie helps out. Sue helps out. I don't do too much. My brother and my father, we kind of sit there and we watch them, but we don't do much. No, my father actually, he does a lot. He does the table, and that in and of itself is when you're putting like 8 seats down or 6
Right.
seats down, and they do the whole trimming. So anyways, that was Thanksgiving. Hey, what do you think was happening in 1995 in
What was
Sly's
happening
life?
in
What was
1995?
happening?
Do you remember?
I know what happened in my life, but what happened in Sly's? I don't know. I think there was a little bit of judging going on.
Judge Dredd. There he is.
This is fantastic. Judge Dredd, I don't want to beat this movie up. I know there were some issues with Danny Cannon, the director. He was kind of a novice director. He didn't really, I don't know if he was the right choice, but also I don't know that he was the right choice to be Stallone's director because
Fair point. Yep.
I don't even blame. A lot of people say it was Sly's ego that got in the way. I don't think it was that at all. I really don't believe that. I believe Sly has a particular vision for this comic book character, but I think they couldn't work it out. If the director was older, more seasoned, I think he could have had a deeper conversation with Sly.
Right.
And I don't know. Anyways, I enjoyed Judge Dredd for the most part. I really did. I can't say anything negative about it. So I thought it was great. But for me, 95 is a huge year because it's the first year I saw Sylvester Stallone. March 19th, 1995, we took a bus trip from Scranton to Atlantic City, and it was the opening day of Planet Hollywood, and none of us knew it. I knew Planet Hollywood was there. We didn't know if it was opening or whatever. And as we pull in, there's a giant marquee outside Caesars, and it said, Caesars welcomes Planet Hollywood, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, and Bruce Willis. And I'm like, wow. And it says tonight they're going to be on stage out front of Planet Hollywood on the Atlantic City boardwalk. So my mother goes, oh my God, can you believe this? And now I have this pit in my stomach because the bus is going to leave at like 5:00 and this isn't going to happen until 7, right? I'm like, oh my God, Sly's going to be right here. And Arnold and Bruce Willis to boot. So my God. And I'm miserable the whole day. I am absolutely crestfallen, heartbroken. Nobody, I'm pissing everybody in the group off, right?
Right. Wow.
And at the end of the day, the damnedest thing happens. My cousin Michael Grillo from New York, who's a psychopath in his own right, and his new wife, Fern, they were having their honeymoon in Atlantic City. They had just got married. And we run into them on the boardwalk. I'm in this miserable funk looking at the ocean, and they just start walking towards us. We had no idea they were there.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh my God. So it was like a little family reunion thing. And I'm being kind of like a giant baby sucking my thumb. And they go, what's with him? And Sue tells them. And he said, Michael, no problem.
Yeah.
We're staying for a few days. Stay with us at our hotel.
Easy.
I'm like, excuse me? What? What are we doing? And they go, yes. And so now I'm thinking, here they are on their honeymoon, right? And now they're asking me to stay. They're offering to stay, and then they'll take me to the bus station in the morning, and I can get a ride, a bus station back home, a bus back home. And I'm like, oh my God. And I felt this weight lift off my shoulder.
Yeah.
And Sue goes, you see? She goes, this is meant to be. This is a sign. And for anyone who really would like a more in-depth version of this, please read it in Cue the Rocky music. You guys know where to get books these days. It's there. This story, there you go. Thank you. This story is in there, and it really is a huge. I also meet Arnold.
Story.
Yeah, it really is. It's a great story. And anyways, that was my 1995. I would go on to meet Sly 2 more times that year, and then again in 96. During the filming of Copland. So, but anyways, those stories, we'll talk about that at another time.
No, it's cool because you're reading it and you're holding your breath, just like, is it gonna happen? Is it gonna happen? And then bam,
man, it happens. Great. Arnold came down, told me to try the strudel, and they shook hands, and it was great. It was just amazing. Anyways, hey, listen, we have a really incredible follower, Roz, who's such a big fan of ours, and we're a fan of hers. Has she done anything exceedingly supercalifragilisticexpialidocious? What has she been up to?
Just a little thing called the Philadelphia Marathon.
Yeah, that's all.
Yay, you, Roz. Oh my goodness. She is just, It was so fun. I put up a link for us to follow her. We were following her along. I was posting as she hit the 15 and the half, and as she was going along. That was so much fun. And then I was just waiting for the little link to say that she finished, and I mean, I remember holding my breath, going, just waiting for it to kick in that she finished. And
Aw.
it was just, I'm so proud of her. I've had people in my family be marathon runners and trainers, and I don't
You
even
know
want to drive
the
20 miles.
intensity.
Yeah, I understand the intensity of what it takes to train. And in those last 6 miles, she said in her post, she said that was all Rocky, like, to push to the very end. She said that in her post,
Yeah.
that was one of the hardest things she did, but she finished, and her finishing photos, which I'll put up here, finish line photos are just awesome. So we are so
I
proud of
can't
you.
I can't
Yeah.
wait. Yes, absolutely, Roz. You've
Mhm.
stuck by your goal of you've been on this journey of health and
Yep.
fitness now for some time,
Couple
and
years. Yeah.
your dedication to it is so spectacular. It really
Mhm.
is. You should be very, very proud of yourself. Rocky would be very proud of you.
Yeah.
That I know for a fact.
Mhm.
How's Rick Babcock doing? Is he around?
So,
What's he been up to?
Rick Babcock. So I ordered a couple T-shirts. I wanted to show them off because he did a new design. He
Ah,
first sent it to Adam James, who was on a guest of ours several back. So I have it on in yellow, and he made this one for my husband. But look at the back. It is this huge logo in the back, so that when people are following you, they'll say, "Hey, what's the Rocky Files?" And you can tell them all, tell them all about us. So I just wanted to thank Rick for
now
sending us this. Mhm.
no, now wait a minute, Stacy.
What?
What you just said, I want to thank Rick for sending us this.
Us
S-
meaning
Yeah,
me and
you.
Kevin. Me and
Yeah, you and
Kevin.
Kevin. I would kill for one of these shirts. Rick,
Okay.
let me at least pay the cost for this, okay?
Right.
I know you don't want to take money from us, but let me at least pay the
Right.
cost. I gotta have one of these shirts, but I want one of those shirts that they're like a fitted shirt, not like the bag. So I'm gonna call you, Rick, and I definitely want to tell you what type of shirt I want. Plus, Rick, I just got a new design that I worked on. I should it's a really cool key punching shirt that I
Oh,
think I want to
cool.
have. Yeah, it's really neat. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. And so
He'll make
I
it. I know he
I
will.
know, I know, I
Yeah.
know, I know. So I'm gonna check in with him and see if he'll look it, because he's done our shirts so far for
Mhm.
the podcast. And I have to
Mhm.
tell you, I love that he put that giant logo on the back.
Yeah.
I
That's cool.
love that. I love giant logos. That's
Logos,
it.
right.
I love that because I always see it as a Superman shield. Like that's
Sort
why
of.
I create the 1818 on the bricks, that shirt.
Right.
I love that because
Yes.
to me, it's just, I don't know, you just put out there what you're so proud of or what it is that
Right.
motivates you. So,
Right.
anyways, Rick, I am teasing that Stacy got one and I didn't, but I want one. So, you
He'll
know,
get you one. He'll get, but
good.
he does get mad when you pay him because I have a
Oh,
stick.
look at this. What is this? Oh, that looks so awesome.
Isn't this awesome?
Oh, I love that.
So Rick, being who he is, Mr. Generosity, he always throws in some surprises. And then he sent me these stickers that I look at this.
Oh, those are great.
So I just wanted to thank him. He's always so generous to us, and I'll be putting some of those stickers right on my truck. So
You
can't
know,
wait.
Rick, you are just as Stacy said it best, you're a very generous human being. And I
Mhm.
think this Rocky bubble that we've all jumped on board with has you feel like it's a family. You don't
Mhm.
even feel like they're friends or fans. You feel like family, which
Yes,
is so wonderful, I think.
100% true. Mhm. So
It really is.
you grabbed a very cool picture. Uh,
Yeah. So I came across this picture online. I don't know who it was. Somebody was in Philadelphia. I didn't take I haven't been in Philly in a week. The day before Thanksgiving was my last tour. I took a few days off to enjoy time with family. So
mhm.
I've not been down to see this personally. Anyways, in the back of the Stallone shop, there is a giant mural being put up. And yeah, there it is. Now, if you just look at this for a second, obviously it's the Ring Magazine Championship belt, and it's the the placements where the championship boxers were
Mhm.
are from the movies. He got Rocky 1, Rocky 2, Rocky 3, 4, and so on. And I think this is absolutely awesome. Now, the Sly Stallone Shop has, I don't know if they hired this guy. I don't know if the guy is doing it pro bono, but Patrick Ganino is the artist that has done this. And he's a
Mhm.
Connecticut artist. This guy, I stumbled across this guy, and man, there he is. Look at him. And
Mhm.
this guy is absolutely brilliant with art. I really am into art. I'm going to start exploring a lot of his art and seeing what he does. And really, Stacy, we ought to have a special on here, the art of Stallone.
Mhm.
Because there are so many artists out there that
Right?
love this character, and they have these works of art that they put in their houses, that they hang on their walls. And I think we should start to showcase some of that, because
Mhm.
people, I love showing off what people do, how
Mhm.
this movie affects them.
Right.
And anyways, I can't wait to see that mural up close. I think it's going to be a welcome addition, especially for that area. You got the steps, you got the statue right there, and of course you got the Sly Stallone Shop. And I
Mhm.
can't think of a better mural for the back of that.
Right.
So, Patrick, if you get a chance to see this or hear this, just thumbs up, buddy.
That's
Great job.
beautiful.
Looking forward to it. Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
get some, more pictures when you're there. I would
Yeah,
like to get
yeah.
some.
Thursday, I have a Rocky gig Thursday, so I'm gonna head down there a little early, and I'm gonna. They may have it covered because Sly's gonna be there Sunday, and I
Right.
do want to say this very quickly. Sunday, Sly's at the Sly Stallone Shop at the steps for the contest for
Mhm.
the 20 people that won and so on, and there's gonna be a lot of people trying to get a shot of Sly. I understand that,
Yeah.
but here's the thing. I know what that's like.
Mhm.
I know that feeling. I remember standing out front of the Planet Hollywood seeing Sly, 3,000 people all around, and I was 10 people back seeing him. And
Mhm.
it was the most exhilarating, thrilling thing, the hope of trying to connect with him or to see him. So for any of you who are watching, some of the winners have already texted me and told me who they are. And some, I don't, it'll be a surprise to some other people, but I'm really excited for those that I know that have gotten in already. And I wish you all the best of luck,
Right.
and just enjoy this moment. Try to focus as best you can, because it's going
Mhm.
to be a surreal moment for you. I
Mhm.
know. I remember my first few moments. They were so surreal. I was not in the moment. Thank God Sue had taken pictures, or she
Right.
could describe it. She was more coherent than I was. And,
Yeah.
obviously, as you go on and you get a little more familiar with Sly, you start to understand. He's just a guy. He's a
Right.
guy. He's a guy who's an actor and a writer who created the two greatest heroes of all time, Rocky and Rambo. But he's
That's
just
all.
a guy.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's huge. But once you have you could talk a little bit with him, and you realize he's so human, and
Mhm.
I think it makes you love the guy even that much more. So
Mhm.
just while you guys are there, just be as present as you can.
Mhm.
Just try. Other people will be taking pictures, and you'll see pictures online of yourself with them. Try not to get too caught up in the picture as much as it is being in
The
that
moment.
moment with Sly. Just be present and just focus on what it is you're telling him, and be yourself. Don't try
Yeah.
to pretend to be something you're not. Just be who you are with Sly, and I
Mhm.
promise you, he's going to love you for that. I promise
Right.
you.
Right. Well, he can spot a genuine spirit when I think he's very good at reading people. He knows.
He's very good at reading people,
Yeah.
and you said it. Be your most authentic,
Mhm.
genuine self. Just
Mhm.
be who you are. I
Right.
promise you, he'll acknowledge that, and he will not let you down. I
Right.
promise.
That's exciting.
All right, hey, we're done, right?
So we
Oh, we,
got
oh, we got more.
we have more, yes.
Okay.
Unwaxed Podcast, Sistine and Sophia had Sly on, and we wanted to take a moment to talk about what he
Yeah.
revealed there. Um, I it was very well done. I was very interested in watching how the girls were gonna interview their dad. Now it's their dad, but it's still Sylvester Stallone, and I'm like, "Wow, how are they gonna break this down? How are they gonna do it?" And I thought they did a beautiful job.
Yeah.
But he goes on to reveal things that are hard for me to even repeat, especially about his
Mhm.
mom.
Well,
And, um, I wanted to get your thoughts on the podcast with him and just all that additional information. What does it add to what you have to say about him as a whole.
I think the rawness and the
Mhm.
reveal, I think you only get something like that when you're in the presence of your family.
Mhm.
I think as Sophia and Sistine are the curators of the podcast,
Mhm.
Unwaxed, they're the hosts. I think they would be the only two people in the world
Right.
Sly would open up that way to.
Mhm.
Obviously,
Right.
most people were unaware of those things.
Mhm.
Um, I I was so proud of the girls. Now I don't know them. All
Mhm.
I know is from whatever I see whenever I tune into the podcast, which I always think they do a great job on it. But I just there was a sincerity there.
Mhm.
I think they themselves went to another level in their sincerity. They uh, what Sistine said it. She goes, "We've been living with you for 25 years and we didn't know these things."
Right?
They were genuinely shocked
Yes.
at several things, and I thought you and I had discussed this, and I know you were incredibly impressed with Sistine, but
Mhm.
I saw something on Sophia's face. There was so much pain in her face
Yeah.
at certain moments about what Sly revealed about his mom
Mhm.
and what kind of a mother says the things that Sly said she said.
Right.
There, I can picture Sophia's face right now,
Mhm.
and those are things that may haunt her for quite some time. But
Mhm.
again, a lot of that was for fans. That's what they did. They wanted this. They didn't know their
Mhm.
father was going to say this, but
Mhm.
that's the way that it went. And for Sly to open up about so many things, I can really relate, especially to the dance video when he went to the one dance when he was like 14, 15 years old, and they
Mhm.
just zeroed in on him. A very similar thing happened to me. There was a dance at Saint Anne's Monastery,
Right.
it's the school dance, and a very similar situation. Only I didn't get shot.
Oh my god.
Sly ended up getting shot in the tricep.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun. The look on their face. But, Sophia, you're right. I think she was shell-shocked.
I think she might have been.
I think she was so taken aback
Yeah,
by that level of cruelty that it's stunning because I'm sure their parents, Jen and Sly, they haven't experienced that. They know loving parents, present parents, encouraging parents, parents who are proud of them. Things
right,
that all
right.
parents should be to all their kids, and Sly did not have that. And Sistine just was so I loved how they paused in the middle and gave a shout out for therapy and to say it's
Sure.
okay if you're not okay. And
Oh my
she
God.
gave some information about finding a therapist. You really can't get through life without needing a little bit of guidance at some point because life's not easy. But I liked how she was so transparent about that. But you can see that she's doing her own work because she knew how to like, put a question to him that
Yeah.
really got him. He was like, "Wow, is that your voice or is that your father's voice?" When she said
Right.
that, I was like, "Whoa, that was awesome." And then, I mean, there's so many examples we could go on, but I just think she did a really good job, and I just think Sophia was taking it all in. You could just see her absorbing it all like a sponge. At the
Yeah.
very end, what I loved is when Sistine said, "If there's one," let me try to find it. Where did I put? Oh, there it is, my little notebook. At the end, when she said, "If there's one message that you want to leave for your daughters, all the things you've learned in your life, what would it be?" And he goes, "The lesson lies in the learning, and by teaching, you'll be taught." I was like, "I love that." And then
Yeah.
I'm thinking, is that Sly or is that a quote that he's repeating that I'm not sure where that comes from? Because that sounds
You
I
know
don't
what the
know,
thing
that
about
sounds
that is?
genius to me.
Yeah. You know what that is to me? To if it is and I don't know. So Sly, if you hear this, and I don't know if that was your like Stacy said, was that
Mhm,
your words or was that something you heard that
mhm,
you were like interpreting or whatever?
mhm,
Either way, it is kind of a brilliant thing. But
mhm,
you see, what happens is if it came from someone from 100 years ago, from 50 years ago, it not that it's irrelevant, but
mhm.
when you have a voice who's more relevant now,
Right.
a voice that can carry in a certain, I don't know, a field, a bubble,
Mhm.
a certain bubble.
Right.
Sly's voice is very big in a certain bubble. So when he says it, a lot of times if someone else said it, they were like, whatever. But when Sly says it, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, excuse me, what's this?
Yeah.
Because for me, I have bought in hook, line, and sinker to the
Right.
Rocky philosophy for a long time. So that Rocky philosophy has to come from somewhere, and it comes from Stallone. So Sly has always said the best parts of himself are in Rocky, which means those philosophies come from him. So if he's saying this is something that he truly believes in, then okay. I remember one time Sly wrote me something on a text message about Marcus Aurelius and this book of sayings, and I went out and got it, and I have the book because of this guy that wrote this stuff. I never heard the guy before.
Right.
Sly had said something very interesting. I was like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll listen. But I think it's also I think it's when you do listen to your parents, because I noticed the kids had said a few things about Sly that time is our currency, and they said, you know, Dad, we're gonna move in that way. We're gonna adopt that philosophy, right? And I do think that is one of the smartest things we can do is listen to our parents more. And so maybe Sly says, what was it? Please read that quote again,
Yeah.
Stacy.
So the lesson lies in the learning, and by teaching, you'll be taught.
The lesson lies in the learning, and by teaching your okay. So we're learning from our parents, and then we're going to pass that on to other people. And then by passing it on and maybe hearing what people have to say to it, maybe we'll learn even more,
Right.
piggyback and go back and forth. You know, it's like a good catch 22. There's
Right.
bad catch 22s and there's good catch 22s. And
Yeah.
I just, you know, it was a great, one of the great interviews.
It was fabulous. And I loved how he said, never think that you know everything. It from someone who seems to know everything
Yeah,
is still
right.
saying, never think you know everything, that you can learn
Right.
something from everyone. And that's very humble of him. And I was,
But it's
I don't know.
true. I mean,
They
it
did a
really,
beautiful job.
yeah, it really is true. When you think you know everything, and then all of a sudden you get new information, it's like a reawakening. I know when I learn new Rocky stuff, it's like it really is a reawakening for me. So
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
So well done to both of them. Good job, ladies. They handled it very, very sensitively, and I was very impressed.
Stacy, speaking of well done, we have a guest today.
We do have a guest today.
Who is a well done, die in the wool Rocky fan. I mean, this guy, I'm very familiar with his post.
Yeah.
This guy is, I don't know, they don't come much bigger than this dude. I mean, he is a Rocky fan, top tier.
Yes.
Who is this person, Stacy?
This gentleman, his name is Mike Lynaugh, and speaking of fan art, wait till you see what he has for us. So you're gonna love this one too. Welcome, Mike. Here we go. Hey, how are you?
Hey, Stacy, Mike, how you doing?
Hi, nice to see you.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I see you're all decked out in your Stallone Shop wear. You've got your Rocky posters in the background. I love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, right off the bat, I want to ask you something.
Okay.
Because this intrigues me. So I can clearly see the Rocky 1 or Rocky 2 poster. Now, there are several versions of those posters that are out there. There's the one with Rocky and Adrian walking into the white background. Rocky 2, there's the black and yellow one with Rocky 2 above it.
Right.
Why did you choose the two that you have there?
For the original Rocky poster, because of the steps. So that's one of our favorite places.
Yeah,
I grew up in Jersey, Central Jersey, and we've been to the steps many times, as often as we can. So I love that poster. I actually have the two of them walking away right behind that poster.
Good.
So I do have that poster. And as for the Rocky 2, there's that yellow one with just the text. And then I originally had the one where it was the illustration of the two of them.
Okay.
I never really felt that looked like Sly to me.
Okay.
So this one captures the action, captures everything. So it took me a few years to track it down, but I was finally able to grab that one.
Nice. I love the one that you have for Rocky 2. I have the thin one. You've seen the thin marquee one, right?
Yep.
I have that one of that, and I love that one. I keep that. I don't have a proper frame for it, but I absolutely think that's a brilliant way to go. What is it about Rocky? Why do you love this character so much?
You mentioned it just a few minutes ago, the Rocky philosophy, never giving up.
Yeah.
we all have our moments in life where things kind of push back on us. And I mean, it kind of goes back to the speech in Rocky Balboa where, nothing's going to hit as hard as life. But that's kind of it. It's no matter what happens, just keep pushing through. There's another side to this. Keep pushing. You don't let anybody else put you down. There's a quote that I have on my Facebook page. When I went to art school, and my photo 2 teacher said to me, "You're not seriously considering a career in photography, are you?" And that kind of was a little kick that I needed. I used that as my inspiration that she wasn't going to tell me that I can't do this. And I went on. I actually got a job in a camera shop, worked there for 7 years, learned the craft back in the film days where you had to learn. You didn't see what you were doing. And then I wound up making the next jump, and I wound up in Washington, D.C. as a photographer covering the White House, Pentagon, Capitol Hill, that whole thing. And I still remember that, you're not seriously considering a career in photography, are you? So it's just that don't let anybody else put you down, just keep pushing, keep moving forward, one step at a time, and do what you want to do. Believe in yourself.
Well, that's one of the things Sly says in the follow-up. When total strangers told it, he goes, "Who are you to tell me what I am or who I am?" Now, sometimes people are right. Like if you want to be a singer and you go on American Idol and you're like William Hung, and you're like, no, she bang. It's not going to happen. You're not going to be a singer. But what can you do? Maybe you can be a great lyricist. What can you do? So, but look at you. You went and you became this great photographer. I mean, this is what your career is, correct? Yeah.
Now I've left DC and now I'm kind of in another world. But I still do the photography. I still have my credentials. I travel. It's a little bit harder now that we're out in Ohio, but I still have clients that call me and get to go down and cover events in DC, NASA, Navy. I still have some big people that I still work with, and photography has been amazing for me.
Yeah.
Stacy, what do you think so far?
Yeah, he is very, very creative. We spoke yesterday. This is the coolest idea, and I'm glad you sent me this. And this, I want you to explain these pictures, and then we're going to show how he did this with Rocky spots. Hang on. Tell us about this one.
So back in 2003, I was living in DC. My wife-to-be, she was down in Richmond, Virginia. So I didn't know much. I grew up in Jersey, so Revolutionary War. I was always into that with history. So being in Virginia, we started traveling to battlefields. So we would go to the various battlefields. We went to Fredericksburg, Virginia one day, go into a gift shop and bought this bottle of apple cider, and it had a painting on it. And the guy at the checkout says, "Hey, that's Princess Anne Street right downtown." So okay. So we're walking around Princess Anne Street, downtown Fredericksburg, with a bottle in my hand, and there's a painting of Robert E. Lee in Longstreet, and they're going, and there's church steeples in the background. So we're walking around trying to find these steeples, and we found it, and I took a picture of us standing where this painting had been done. I got home, started thinking, what else can I do about that? We were into the Civil War, learning about that. So I actually went to the Library of Congress, and I spoke to the people there about how do you get their pictures and stuff. And they have an amazing website that they turned me on to. And they've got tens of thousands of photos for everything that you could imagine on there. So I had never been to Antietam. So I said, I'm going to go to Antietam. So I went to their website, downloaded a bunch of pictures, made them 8x10s, traveled there. And this location here, it's called the Dunker Church. It's right across the street from the visitor center. So it was the first thing that I saw when I parked the car. I see that church and I'm like, oh, I recognize that picture. So I went, found the church, and then I wanted to see, could I figure out where the photographer stood back 1862? So I went, and it was really cool. As you get there and you move, you see the shape of the building changing. You see the windows, you see the curve of the street, the little hill there. You see where things kind of happen. And I was moving around, line it up, take some pictures, and thought it was cool, move off and went around the battlefield. I get home and I had pictures on my computer, and I'm looking, and they're side by side. And it was cool, but it didn't really do anything for me. A couple of days later, I thought, how close was I to the real spot? So I took my new one, I made it transparent, 50%, and I just slid it over the old one, and that happened. So it kind of just came to life for me. And the name Ghosts of the Field came to mind. And you could see where the damage was on the buildings, where the soldiers fell. It was just such a cool experience. And that summer, we went through, and by December, long story, but I had a book. I had a book published called Ghosts of the Field, and we had done that. And the cool thing I was saying to Stacy is that over the year, and it's been 20 years now, I can't believe it, but over the years, I've been contacted by schools, teachers, and they use my book as a lesson plan. They have the kids go out with old pictures of their towns, and they try to do the same technique, try to find the church and the, wherever things are. And then they do that to try to visualize it. It really makes history come alive.
Right.
So last year I started thinking there's a bunch of pictures of Rocky and the making of Rocky and all that. So I went online, found a bunch of pictures, and then I had to do my homework. I'm out near Cleveland, and we'd be passing through Philly, but had limited time. So I spent weeks doing research, trying to figure out where were these shots taken. Yeah. And it was just, I love that part of things, figuring out the research, doing all that. And we went to Philly. I booked a day. We were going to see my family, but I said, we'll be there later. So I had a few hours that we had, and we went around from Mickey's Gym to along the riverfront. I don't know the name of that park, but the river, and where they had done some shots with him running down the path and him standing in front of, leaning on statues, him at the steps, on top of the steps. And you could, when you do it and you move, it's the same thing. There's a shot that I sent to Stacy, and there's Sly with his arms up on top of the steps.
Right.
And it's just a close up of the museum, but it's not. When you do it, you see the pillars, the way that they interact with the background. There's a door there. There's just different details on it. So as you move, you can see, whoops, I'm too close. I got to back up. I need to not see the roof. I need to see this. And I tried to go through and capture, can I be where that original photographer was?
And the lens on the camera would be different from the lens that you are using. So how do you compensate for that?
That it's more visual. So with those shots, it's a zoom. So I have to be able to see what's captured in the original framing. I have to be able to do that, because obviously if I had that shot and then you see more of the wings of the museum, or so when I adjust the zoom, it changes all that perspective with where the pillars are, with everything. And it's just so much fun. And we went all around Philly, and I captured 15, I think, different images. I didn't send this one, but the missing brick outside on Mickey's Gym, right by the door. That was my key. So I was able to go, and I stood there, and it's patched now. So I was able to use that. I'm looking at my 8x10 of where this brick was missing. And you move around, and okay, I can see so many bricks up, so many bricks down. I see this part of the doorway, and I'm moving around. And with that one, it was actually kind of cool, because I bumped into a girl and her mom that would just happen to be there looking at the gym. And I showed them what I was doing. And I showed them, here's where Sly was coming out this door. And if you stand right here, this is where he was. And it's just, I think I said it already, but it just makes history come to life.
Yeah,
you really see what happened right where you were standing.
You're walking exactly where they were. You're walking right back through it. So here's a couple others. I love this.
That one, there's a ton of steps and the stuff's all over the place. But that one crack.
You can find the crack. That's how I found it about 15 years ago. Yeah.
I didn't know, because I'm in Ohio. How do I figure out what this crack is? Because I don't want to get there, waste an hour trying to find a crack in a rock on the steps. So I discovered that Google Maps, where you can go through and advance, you can go up the Rocky Steps. So I went up the Rocky Steps on Google, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, I think that's it. So zooming in, and then I marked where I thought things were, so that when we got there, we can go up, and
Right there.
there it is.
There it
There
is.
it is.
So
And
I have a
this is
shot
the
of my
other one.
son where he's actually sitting right at, where he wanted to sit, where Rocky was.
And then this
Um,
one along the river here. This is
and
awesome.
that was one of those where I had no idea where this park was. So I had done the research, figured things out, and you can't see it now because there's a bush that's kind of popped up, but
Mhm.
there's these curved rocks in the original photo right by his feet.
Right.
There's a little formation of stones, and that's what I was trying to find. And
Mhm.
when you do it, all of a sudden those two bridges start to align
To
themselves.
come
Yep.
together.
They sure
And
do.
you go back, you forward, and with the zoom, all that stuff, it all changes how that's happening in front of your eyes. And all of a sudden you're standing there and it's like, that's where he was.
That's the exact spot.
And
I
that
love
that spot was fun because there's a lot of pictures that they took during the production along that riverfront.
true.
Oh
there.
yeah.
That's
Did you
true.
get the one where he was lying on the ground in pain and the director's leaning over him? by
Got
the
his hands
statue?
behind his head.
Oh,
Yep.
I love that.
Ah,
Did you get the
nice.
one where he's sitting in the statue with the
I
legs
even have
up?
I did the
Yeah.
kids standing right
Good.
next to that too. So
Good.
yeah,
Nice.
it's just, that's the stuff I love. The research, do all that, and then we go there, and then it just becomes real. And it also helps the kids because now they
Yeah.
see that, oh, that's where he was, rather than just, okay, yeah, we know Rocky was in Philly, but he was right there.
Well, you know,
Mm.
that picture with Rocky and Butkus is something that's really special because there was a whole 4-minute montage of Rocky and Butkus walking through the city. Rocky's unemployed. He's just walking around talking to people. So
Mhm.
what is going on in Rocky's head right here? He's having a conversation to Butkus that he has to go see Mickey. And he's got to get his locker back because he has to go fight. Because when he goes to fight Mickey, go to see Mickey, he's wearing the yellow t-shirt. So that's what this scene was about. When Rocky and Butkus leave the steps, they're walking, and you know how far it is from the steps to Kensington. They got to walk up to Kensington. It's dark out, and that's when he gets slapped in the face. But this is Rocky was contemplating going there that day. And Sly had said that these deleted scenes are in the archives. They're just there. Why? What is MGM waiting for?
Right.
What are they waiting for? So stupid that they don't release this stuff.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Mike, I wanted to show off where you were in 2006. You want to talk about the dedication?
Yep. So I've spoken to Mike about this. I was in DC from 01 to 05 doing the press thing. And then in 05, we got married. We got married in Niagara Falls. My wife's from Buffalo. So we moved up there for a little bit. And 06 comes around and I'm still have all my credentials. I have all that stuff. And I get the press release that Sly's coming to Philly for the rededication of the Rocky statue at the steps. So I call my wife and said, we're going to Philly. And, she's like, yeah, this is cool. She loves not quite as much as me, but she loves it all too. But anyway, so we go to Philly and I had press access. So I was up on the podium. There was the little press stand, I guess you could say. Yep. And I was there for the whole thing. And these pictures show, that was a bucket list item for me. I always wanted to see Sly in person. And kind of a funny aside, in 87, we went to Beverly Hills on a family vacation. And his car was Steve Garvey was at was hosting a charity event, and Sly was there. And I didn't want to go with my parents. I said, I'm not going, I want to stay here. I want to see Sly. And we had to go. They're like, he'll still be here. He wasn't. So it took me 20 years or so to get it. But then I finally captured these, and it's just amazing. That was such a cool day. And I know, I apparently have a picture it's of Jolie Fisher, but apparently Mike is just cropped out of that photo. He was with her that day, he said.
Yeah, Jolie Fisher. What happened was Jolie Fisher and her mother, Connie
Stevenson.
Stevenson.
Yep.
Yeah. So they were standing right in front of me, and we were right there in the I don't know, just a few rows from the front stage. And as Sly was coming over, he knew Connie, and so they were talking there. And like 2 seconds before Sly was coming over, Jolie Fisher's camera falls to the ground, the batteries, and she goes, oh my God. So I went down to help her, and we're talking, and she goes, of all times this could happen, blah, 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 Murphy's Law. And then I put her camera back together, and she goes, oh my God, Sly. She goes, this is my friend. She goes, she turns to me. She goes, would you take a picture of me, Sly, and my mom? And so I did take a picture of her and Connie, and I thought it was amazing. And that's, of course, Sly then had a conversation with me that my wife got some pictures and some video of, rather, which was great. But it's small world, Mike, right? You were up there on the stand, I'm in the front. You just never know how these moments are going to reconnect years later to Rocky fans, how they meet and go on. Do you remember the duck that kept squeaking when Stallone was trying to talk on stage? I don't know if you remember that moment.
I don't.
There was a duck, and Stallone even referenced it in his speech. The duck, somebody was squeaking a duck so loud, it was crazy. It's one of the things I remember from that day. Anyway,
I was laser focused on
right.
Well, it's, when you're there and it's, how's he looking? Where's his hands doing this? And, so
yes, of course.
I always think, with DC, you get to be involved in some cool things. And I always thought, it's really no big deal about secrets and stuff, because I don't hear a word anybody says. I used to go to things at the Pentagon. Now, these weren't private, what I'm going to say, but I'd go to the Pentagon, take pictures of stuff, but I'd be recording it back home, because I'd get home and I'd watch the press briefing for my captions that I had to submit.
Sure.
But I didn't hear a word that was said, because my mind's focused on doing this. Where are they looking? What are they doing? And
I get that.
So yeah, I hear nothing.
Yeah, I get that.
Let's see. So his family, I love this photo. Ready? Look at this. This is the Rocky family over the years, 05, 17, 18, 21. Look at all those. This is great.
So yeah, whenever we go back, and usually it's Thanksgiving that we stop in. So a new tradition, don't know if you saw on my Facebook or Instagram. I don't think I put it on Instagram yet, but my sister's just on the Jersey side of Philly. So we go in, we stay there, and we always hit up the Victor Cafe the night before Thanksgiving.
Oh, nice.
So that's been our tradition the last 3 years. So we had another wonderful evening there last week. And there we go. And so we love it there, even the kids. And, they're like, can we go to Rocky's restaurant? And but then we usually leave and we go to the statue, and we hang out there. But this time there was some weather ahead of us when we were heading home, so we couldn't do that. But luckily I got the picture this summer. So I don't have a blank 2023. So we'll do it again next year to keep that going.
So tell us about your journey to these two kids. I absolutely love this story. It's important for people to know what their options are, right?
Yes. We have a very interesting family story. So in 2014, we had a son, and we lost him. He was just a day shy of a month old. He was born with a rare genetic disease called HLH. And I don't remember what the words are, but I couldn't pronounce them even if I remembered.
Yeah.
He was born with a weird rash, and we only got to be with him for a few minutes before they whisked him away and brought him to Children's Hospital. He was there in Akron for a while, and then they moved him to Cincinnati, which, of all things, Cincinnati, Ohio, but they specialize in HLH treatment. So he was there. He was with these great doctors, but we lost him. It's an immunity issue.
Gotcha.
The bone marrow has a problem, and they can't fight disease, and it just kind of ravages them.
Right.
It's terrible. So because of that, and it's genetic, they recommended that we don't try to have another child again. So we decided to go. We always said if we ever needed to, we would try adoption. Yeah. So we had no problem with that. So we went through that. But now that was February to March 2014. In 2016, after years of going through trying to find matches, if adoptions, it's a very difficult process. You learn a ton. It's actually, there's a lot of cool things about it, but it can take a while. So in 2016, we find that a family really likes our book. You make these family books explaining who you are. And stuff.
Okay.
So I'm a photographer. I put the book together. I did all that stuff, and they liked our picture, and they liked our book, and they actually said they wanted nobody else. This is who they want their son to go with. So we met up with them, with the social worker. We met. Everything went great, and we all agreed that this is going to happen. So during that process, though, one of our friends told us about thing called embryo adoption. So everybody's heard of in vitro fertilization, IVF. So you can have, the embryos are implanted in the woman, and then you can give birth. Well, the problem is that it's a very expensive process, and usually if they have it, you have a child and then you stop because it's a lot of money, or it doesn't work and then there's leftover embryos. Well, there's a place that we were told from a friend in Knoxville, Tennessee, called the National Embryo Donation Center. And when there's leftover embryos, they give them here, and they actually, crazy process, but they freeze them and they store them there for years. And then it's kind of like what I mentioned about the book, what they match up. So the donor family is from Anchorage, Alaska, and we were reading through and we say, okay, here's this. They match you up with your hair, your eyes, your build, your profession. It's the same kind of thing. They match people up, and they approved us, and we went through this embryo adoption. So that we didn't know if it was going to work. So we're going through that, and they actually implant 2. So there's a high chance of twins. Well, during that, now all of a sudden, the traditional adoption, we've got a match. So we know that we're going to have a son born in June. Well, my wife might be pregnant, possibly with twins. So we could go from 0 to 3 in a heartbeat.
Wow.
But only one took. However, Mikey was born at the end of June, and our daughter, my wife was able to give birth to our adopted daughter. She was born December 1st. Her birthday is on Friday.
Wow.
And so they're 5.5 months apart from each other, and they're best friends.
That's amazing.
It couldn't be a better situation. They love everything. I mean, they're so much fun. And now she's about to turn 7. I mean, it's 7 years now. There they are going up when she couldn't even walk yet. She still wanted to crawl up the steps.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, and with my daughter, because of the way that it was with the embryos, she actually has full biological siblings, twins, in Knoxville, Tennessee. She has a sister in Alaska, again, full biological. She has a full sister in Cincinnati, and I believe there's another one on the way. I don't know if it's a boy or girl, but how things have been going, odds are it seems to be girls.
Wow.
But with my wife is in contact. We're in contact with all the families. My son with the traditional adoption, we're in contact. That was open adoption. We'll be seeing them soon for Christmas. So we have
beautiful.
This huge, just all over the place. And
That's really neat.
yeah, we're looking forward to it. We haven't met all the sisters yet, but we're planning on doing that. And it's really, obviously wish it didn't start the way that it had, but the way that things have turned out, it's been incredible.
Right. It's been a real blessing in a matter of speaking, because my God, you got these 2 beautiful kids you're beautiful parents to these 2 kids, and they're going to have an amazing life, and they're going to have all their siblings. It's amazing to me. It's amazing.
Now, my daughter, she tells her friends in school that, I have sisters, I've got 5 sisters. and it's like, they're going to think you're nuts because they don't know the story. So all they know about is Mikey. They don't, but as she grows up, it'll start to, she'll understand and be able to tell the story better.
Yeah.
So, and we're looking forward to all that.
Yeah. I wanted to highlight this because there are, plenty of people out there having, fertility issues and having a hard time getting pregnant. And these are not things that were available, at least to us when I was, in my 20s and 30s. I don't remember anything about embryo adoption or any of those things. So it seems to be a newer option for people these days.
I looked this morning, and NEDC is what they go by, the National Embryo Donation Center. The 1,406th baby had just been born a couple days ago.
Wow.
So it's when we learned that, she could still experience going through the pregnancy. I mean, it was full pregnancy from embryo to birth. Sure. And so she was able to carry our daughter, and that was really good.
Very exciting. That's very exciting. What a blessing in the end, when, like you said, is the way it beginning was heartbreaking. So to have this result is just so sweet, and I just loved it.
Thank you.
And this is how lucky those kids are. Look at this right here.
Mhm.
Boom. Tell us how you
Love it.
met Carl.
That was that one. There is 2021. So
Uh-huh.
I had never gone to a Comic-Con. I used to go to things back in the 80s, and there's a story I'll tell, I think, in a little bit, but I used to work in a movie theater for a long time. So I've always loved movies and collecting movie posters and stuff, but I'd never gone to a Comic-Con. And then I saw that Carl was coming to Pittsburgh, an hour and a half from me. I said, I'm going.
Yeah.
So I went, got to meet him. It was, you don't get a lot of time with him, and I don't want to. Technically, you could talk and talk, but you got this long line of people. I don't want to take up somebody's time like that.
Right.
But he was very, very nice. I had just happened to get a glove signed by Dolph, and I told him that he wrote on it, if he dies, he dies. So he kind of gives me this look like, oh, all right. So, he was very nice. And then, the picture, he was really cool, shakes my hand and doing all that. And then last year he was up in Cleveland, and my son, he's, calls him Apollo and all that stuff, but he's a huge Star Wars fan, and he watches The Mandalorian, loves him from that. So the one up in Cleveland had a ton of Star Wars stuff. So he wore his costume, and
Nice.
I made sure to get him in the photo there with him. And
That's great.
It was fun. It was really cool.
And
Dolph was great too when I met him.
Oh yeah, I just popped that up right here. Yeah.
Yep.
Great photo. Love it.
Thanks.
I wanted you to share your fan art.
Okay.
Love this.
The one up on the wall?
Yep.
Okay. So, little background. I started 2016 was the 40th anniversary. So probably 2015, I started doing sketches. I was always in all these art classes, the advanced art classes. I went to art school, did all that stuff. So it's what I love to do. I wound up in the direction of photography, but I still love drawing and painting and stuff like that. So I've got a nice computer set up, and I wanted to try it digitally because I didn't want to have paints all over the house. I didn't want to do all that stuff, but I don't shortcut anything. I want to learn it. If I'm going to do anything, I'm going to learn this. So I took a long time learning the program, learning all that stuff. And then we got 2 children that came along in 2016. So I naively thought, well, they're just going to kind of be laying there. I can keep working on this. And that didn't really work. So a few years goes by, and then 2020 with COVID. So I think, all right, we're sitting around doing nothing. I'm going to revive this project again. I want to work on this. And at this point, I'm like, I kind of want to scratch. I like some things that I had done, but threw away my design, used some things. But then I rebuilt it, and I wanted to do it in movie poster style because I have all these posters. I wanted to get a 27 by 40 frame, and I wanted to be able to frame it up with the real stuff. And over here is... I try to incorporate, scenes that I imagine as meaning for Rocky.
Yeah.
And so there's, him and Butkus is over here, and we've got Hulk, and I put him with, I can't really see what I'm showing here, but I got him with Sage over here.
Right.
And it's, I think I'm showing it, but I can't tell, but 1818 on the apartment I've got listed here. I got Adrian's because that's where we love to go, and just moments that meant something, for Rocky,
one of a kind.
as the movies go through, and to keep it on that one of a kind thing.
Yeah,
that picture of Dolph doesn't exist. I used a picture, but then I didn't like the face that was on there, so I went around, found things. I actually have 3 different versions over the time that I did it, where I would change his face, and I wanted to customize it. Same thing with Clubber. That picture doesn't actually exist. I tweaked some things on it to make it that way. Carl, I did some things. I think I changed his face on that one too. But so I tried to make it mine. And everything, also I mentioned the research.
Yeah.
So
nice.
I wanted it to look like it did in the first Rocky.
Sure.
So there's a fire escape, which isn't there anymore.
Right.
There, all the different things. So pictures from inside the pet shop, looking out, and I was able to see what the sign said, that, and then what the window looked like. Now, the only way that I saw that, there's a picture from Sly posted it on his Instagram. It was, I don't know if it was behind the scenes or what it was, because it's not a scene from the movie, but it's him outside looking up at the gym, and you can see the top window. So I saw it doesn't look like it does today. So I put the boards in it, and I did it like it was,
nice.
Technically Rocky 3, but I'm assuming that that's what it looked like in '76. So just it's that research, and even finding all those pictures. The picture of Tony Burton that I got up there, it's from Rocky Balboa.
Yeah,
but that's a hard one to find. That took me a long time of trying to find pictures of Tony Burton to find that image. Actually, I think I found it on one of my tops, the playing cards. That image is from that, which if you enlarge it, it's just a bunch of little circles. So there's not a lot of detail for me to go off of. So it's just using other things. I mentioned to Stacy yesterday that because of the art background, there's a lot of things that if they don't exist, I try to make them myself.
Right.
So the picture, one of the ones with Carl and the one with Dolph, I'm wearing a Rocky shirt. When I did those, there were no polos available at the Sly Stallone Shop. Gotcha. And I wanted something that I could wear at work, something I could wear with them. I didn't want to wear a t-shirt. I have a bunch of Rocky shirts, but I didn't want to wear a t-shirt when I actually met the guys. Right. So I made those shirts so that I can go and meet them. Right. And the poster, and that's what I like to do.
Here it
I
is.
think they're fantastic.
Without the reflection. Yeah. It's just beautiful. It's such a nice job. And it's funny because we were talking yesterday about Rick Babcock. Same thing. If it doesn't exist, he'll just make it himself.
Yeah.
And you do the same.
And I feel, because I'm a credentialed photographer. I understand copyrights. I understand all that. So it's a little struggle for me a little bit, because like even that poster, I understand that I can't sell that. I can't even give it away.
Mike, do you remember the conversation we had about this?
I mentioned that to Stacy.
Oh, Stacy. Stacy, did I share this with you?
I think you did, yeah.
I think I might have. So I love fan art. I think fan art is great. I mean, everything from Rivoli, and there's been so many other artists over the years that I've gotten some of their art, and I think it's just beautiful. And the thing is, MGM follows what I was doing. And so I just posted because I loved it. I sent it to Sly. He loved it. And I put it up on my website, and they're like, you got to take that down. This is illegal. I go, no, you don't understand. He's not selling it. This is just anybody can do a painting. They don't need MGM's okay to do a painting to hang on your wall. And they were so rude about it. It was unbelievable. I don't think those people work with the company anymore. Those people that were following me are gone. But Mike, I having to tell you, I got to take it down. I'm sorry, Mike. I apologize. It's crazy. And you're right. The copyright laws. I've gone through it with them as well.
When I was doing the photography full time, we had moved up to Buffalo after DC, and I was covering the NHL and the Buffalo Sabres. I was on the bench one day during warm-ups, and security comes around and says, "Mr. Lynaugh, can you come with us?" I'm like, okay. So I go, and they put me in this room, and it's me, a bunch of guys in black, suits with the NHL logos. And they say that there's sticks that have been stolen, and the person using it are using my images to sell their sticks. Who am I working with and all this? I don't know what he's talking about. Wow. So they kept me back there for a long time, really grilling me. And I guess they finally got that I had no part in it. I said to them, all you got to do is right click, save as, and then they got my picture from the game.
That's it.
Right.
So I said, I don't know anything about it. So I said, do you want me? Because I had agreement when you do NHL, baseball, football, anything, the jerseys, it's all copyright images. Sure. So I said, I will not sell it. I'm going to post it as editorial where here's the games I went to, here's my images and all that stuff. But I said, I promise you, I won't sell anything. Well, now all of a sudden I'm in the middle of this investigation. And they said, if we find out that you did this, you're going to be banned from all arenas in the country and all this stuff. So I said, do you want me to take my stuff down? And they said, no, leave it up because we want them to keep doing it because we want to figure out who. But if you hear anything, I said, absolutely, I'll talk with you. And then I got a call one day that they caught the guy and he was just stealing my images.
Right.
Sure.
So I was off the hook. But that sticks in your head. So I don't want MGM mad at me. I don't want, whatever. I've done things for a whole bunch.
Yeah.
So I'm always, when I do
it.
this stuff, on the bottom, it says created solely as fan art and all that. But still, I told Stacy I had to send, I was on eBay looking at Rocky stuff a couple of days ago. And there's my picture, my painting. Somebody's selling it on a tin.
Sure.
I sent him a cease and desist. I said, you can't do that. I said, I don't have permission to sell it. You sure don't have permission to sell it. I need it down.
Right.
Guy sent me an apology, took the auction down. But I don't want to get in trouble.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's a touchy, it's difficult.
Yeah, for decades, for about 20 years, people could get away with it. But only recently has MGM come around. And I think after they've been acquired by Amazon, they've been acquired. And I had to make very marginal, slight adjustments myself with my tours. I did it. I followed the letter of the law. Good, no problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, you know what? It just galls me that a company like MGM or Amazon, they have so much in their reserves, in the archives. There's so much that fans would pay for.
Yes.
I don't understand. I do know the reasons why. I'm not going to say it, but I do know exactly why they won't. And they could make money off of this. I mean, Mike, how many reissues of the original Rocky are there on DVD? 4, 5?
Yep.
So, okay. So then they just came out with the 4K, right? Or 5K or 12K, whatever.
However many Ks we are at.
They could come out the following month with another re-release and put all the deleted stuff from Rocky 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There is a making of for all the Rockies. Not Rocky 1, I understand that. But 2 through 6. Frank Stallone videotaped so much stuff.
Right.
There's hours and hours and hours. They just have to be converted. That's a golden goose. Fans would pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get this. No questions asked.
Right.
I know why. I'll just stop there.
Oh, Mike, thank you so much. You've been a great guest. I love your stories. I love I appreciate you sharing, what you went through in your family journey, your adoption journey, and what it took to get there. That's such a beautiful ending to a very painful thing. And your photography. And I love when you said it was a teacher who said, you're not seriously considering a profession in photography, and look at I hope you send that person every photo you've ever taken.
I still remember I was in the White House press room the first day, and I thought, God, I wish I knew their phone number.
Right. Good for you.
Yeah. I don't know who that.
You know what that moment's like to me, Mike? That moment to me, Mike, is like when you're in the White House press briefing, right? It's like when Jimmy Superfly Snuka was on the top rope and he would put the big elbow and fly down and get him. That's what you're doing to the person that said you could never do. I love that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because we all have that moment where that one person told us you couldn't do it. And God damn it, we're doing it. Like that just brilliant to me. Stacy, before I ask him 3 short questions, what do you got? What else you got?
That's everything. Just
Gotcha.
Thank you again. You were wonderful, and
thank you.
You definitely have very key keep moving forward moments. So thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Your favorite Rocky?
So now that I'm older, it's Balboa. I love Balboa.
Yes.
However, it's Rocky 3. So I was 12 years old. I believe my mom took me to see 2 in the theaters because I remember specifically when First Blood came out, she took me, and I was 12 years old, my first R-rated movie. She wouldn't have taken me to that unless I already knew Stallone. So I believe she'll correct me when she sees this video, I guess. But so I believe it was Rocky 2, but Rocky 3, that's what got me in there. I mean, that's 12 years old. Everything was just incredible. And I when it finally came out on VHS, I had the audio cassette player. I recorded the whole dialogue. To this day, I know the whole script word for word. Drives my wife nuts when we watch it. But
do you have a favorite moment in Rocky 3? One moment
beach.
That's your favorite. Right.
The beach.
Incredible,
The beach.
right?
The way she stands up and him admitting that he's, scared. And just, that's such a great scene.
It is.
And another quick story, if I can. So I was 12 years old for Rocky 3. Rocky 4 comes out. I'm 15. I told Stacy this. So we were playing two-hand touch out in the street, and I got decked. I went down and smashed my elbow in the street. So we're in the doctor's office, and he said that I had to come back to get the cast on and all that. And I remember very vividly turning to my mom and said, I can't do that. That's opening day for Rocky. So Rocky 4 was coming out. So we agreed. We pushed it back a day so that I can go to Rocky. So back then, the theaters weren't open all day. It was, movie started at 7:30. The theater opened at 6 or whatever they did. So we get out of school, we get dropped off, and we're right in the front. By around the time that the theater's going to open, there are lines around the building and everybody's waiting for opening day.
Oh my God.
So the guy comes to open up the door. People are excited. The line surges. I get thrown up against the metal between the doors and I hit my bad arm. And I let out a scream. And the guy, the usher that had opened up the door, takes me, grabs me, brings me inside. And I remember sitting behind the concession stand and he's giving me ice and we're icing my arm down and we're just talking. And that experience kind of moved over. And a year later, I was working at that theater. Well, technically a different theater. They were partners, but I was working at the movie theater and I did that.
That was
for
your
4
foot in the
years.
door, a broken arm.
Yep.
I love it.
So
That's great.
I said, I am not getting this thing right. I'm not missing opening day for Rocky 4. So
I love
3 and 4, I was just, we're
Yeah.
about the same age, Mike. It was just, we were the perfect age for that movie. We were the target audience.
Totally. When you think of Rocky, you're going through your day and Rocky is not there. You're thinking about your family, whatever. And all of a sudden you hear a song or someone asks you something, Rocky pops into your mind. What's the image of Rocky that pops into your mind? How do you see the character?
Rocky 3. That's actually my poster that I made. That's the image that I chose for Rocky. Gotcha. It's from Rocky 3. Sure. It's just, that's how I see it. That's kind of the pinnacle. Right. That's, and I agree with you because I know how you feel. The original, I love them all. It's just 3. If I'm sitting around, I got nothing to, I got a house to myself. I'm throwing 3 in.
Now,
it's just a feel-good movie.
I just noticed a massive flaw in this painting. Let me just look again. I've just noticed there is you do have the Rocky 5 with the hat, but there's no leather jacket and fedora here.
Well, the fedora, no, but he's kissing Butkus. I got him kissing Butkus down there. He's wearing the leather
there he is on
that.
Paulie. I see it. I see it. All right. All right.
He doesn't have the fedora, I'll give you that. But I did.
Let me call the Rocky police. I'll call them back.
Call them off.
My apologies. Oh, good catch. Good. All right. So last question, then we're going to let you out of here. So you got 30 seconds. You walk into an elevator and there is Sylvester Stallone. What do you say to him?
Just thank you. Thank you for decades of inspiration and just feeling good. Eye of the Tiger comes on that radio again. Even the kids, it's just, they get it obviously from me, but it's just, it makes you feel good. So it doesn't matter. I even love 5. And I was glad that he kind of defended 5 with his, I think that was with the daughters. Yeah. And it's just, I was still working at the movie theater when 5 came out. It was 86 to 90. I was there. So it's just anything, if feeling down, that's, like I said, if I'm doing nothing, throw in Rocky 3. I know it's kind of cartoony and all that, but it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, like I said, you are a first-class Rocky fan. I am so grateful that we got to talk to you today. This has been a great conversation. And from all the Rocky fans, I thank you so much. And until we see you again, keep punching.
Keep punching. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye, Mike.
Goodbye.
Bye. Love him.
I love guests like that.
Yeah.
They're just, they're so accredited in their own lives, right? They've really risen. They've done very, very well. They got a family, but Rocky is this backbone of so much of what they do in their life, and it's so beautiful to see that. And I'm so glad he was available to be part of this. I really am.
Yeah, he was wonderful. I just love that. Oh yeah, like you're gonna tell me no?
Right.
Oh yeah,
Right.
that's very Sly. So that's
very much so.
They're cut from the same cloth right there.
I love it.
He was very sweet. So,
Stacy,
my dear.
I think we're out of here. Where can people find you?
I am at Had Me at Yo on Instagram, as well as The Rocky Files, and on Facebook at The Rocky Files Podcast. And Michael, what about you?
Well, I'm some of those, and I'm at the Yo Philly Film Tour on Instagram. You can same thing over on Facebook. And if you want to throw some hate my way, join the other fools on TikTok. TikTok. Yes, the Yo Philly Film Tour. They hate my guts over there, and I have a lot of fun with that because what are you gonna do? Anyways, I love my little book, the Cue the Rocky Music. You get that anywhere books are sold. And what I'm really extremely proud of, Jimmy Toscano put together a little documentary called The Pretender. Just Google it, link in bio. There it is. The dream is real. Stacy, until next week, pal. You, my friend, keep punching.